Dear viewers, we welcome you to the Daily Sun Diplomatic Talk. And today the Daily Sun team is at the Nepalese embassy in Dhaka. And today our guest is one of the illustrious diplomat, a very seasoned diplomat, the Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of Nepal to Bangladesh, His Excellency Mr. Ghanshyam Bhandari. Ambassador, welcome you to our talk.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this kind introduction. It is such a pleasure to participate in this prestigious diplomatic talk. Thank you for having me.
Now, as I was looking at your CV, I found you are an illustrious and seasoned diplomat because you have a huge experience in the multilateral diplomacy. You served in both New York and Geneva and also in Brussels, so working with the European Union. Now, let's say ambassador to Bangladesh, it's a bilateral post. How you are coping up with it?
That is absolutely correct. I've had my experience with multilateralism by virtue of my postings in missions such as Geneva, followed by Brussels and New York. As you yourself were a foreign service official, serving ambassador of Bangladesh to Poland, so you can understand how much it means to a foreign service official like us to be serving in a neighboring country. Of course, multilateralism has its own opportunities and challenges. It is really interesting. But when it comes to diplomacy, without understanding the neighborhood dynamics and without understanding actually how we promote, how we try to enhance the relationship with the friendly countries that are mostly in the neighborhood, you do not understand the essence of your nation's diplomacy. That's why it makes it so very special for me to be serving as Nepal's ambassador to Bangladesh. Secondly, I love Bangladesh not just because we are close neighbors, but also because of the people, Bangladeshi people, who have tremendous goodwill and support and kindness towards Nepal and Nepali people. Multilateralism, you rightly referred to, is about building networks, friendship, and also contributing to negotiations which are mostly focused on solving regional and global issues. The process can be at times tedious and slow, but you try your best to contribute to promoting your national interest by participating in those negotiations and consultations so that your national interest is reflected in declarations, resolutions, or decisions of the multilateral processes. When it comes to bilateral diplomacy, especially between the neighboring countries, there are certain challenges, but more than the challenges, there are opportunities. Your mission comes with an arduous and a demanding mandate, and there's always that sense of urgency. So I feel so very blessed, and I'm so grateful to have got this opportunity to be serving as Nepal's ambassador to Bangladesh.
Great to hear that. But as you said, that Bangladesh is a neighboring country. We are close neighbors, but there is a 22-kilometer Indian corridor between us. We do not share exactly the border. But how you see this? Is there any opportunity comes with it, or there are challenges?
I would take that question as a rhetorical one. Rather than seeking an answer, I think you're making a statement. But I would not be tempted to describe this as a challenge or an opportunity. This is a geographical reality. Yes, we do not share borders, but we are very close. And this relationship, despite the fact that we are separated by the 22 odd kilometers of aerial distance, by Siliguri corridor, which is commonly known as Chicken Neck, and that separates our Nepal's easternmost point, which is Jhapa, Kakarvita, that's the border point, and Banglaband of Bangladesh, which is in Panchgarh district. So this route, Banglaband, Fulbari in India, and then Kakarvita of Nepal, this route has been a significant lifeline for our bilateral trade, connectivity, and commerce activities. And if you allow me, I always talk about this relationship between our two countries in terms of three major drivers. We often talk about the organic linkages between the Himalayas, Nepal's Himalayas, and the mountains and the Bay of Bengal. So these three drivers that connect this organic relationship, if you look at the history of Nepal and Bangladesh, right from 1971, this spirit of friendliness, spirit of neighborliness has defined our relationship, which has always remained the relationship based on mutual trust, confidence, and respect. Always stood with each other in times of need. Talk about 2015 earthquake of Nepal, or COVID-19 pandemic, or any other natural disasters or crisis of any type. And second driver is that of the economic cooperation. The economic cooperation, of course, would range from our trade, connectivity, commerce, to transit, to tourism, and various other sectors of the broader economic partnership between our two countries. And you might be aware of the fact that very recently we have entered a new phase of economic partnership, which is the partnership of energy cooperation. And third driver is that driver of human breeze. The people-to-people linkages between our two countries have been excellent, even before Bangladesh became an independent country, and after that it has been an absolute smooth sailing. So not just the fact that we do not share borders, but there are tremendous things that have brought us closer, and we've been able to work out and maintain this friendly and cordial relationship between our two countries.
Ambassador, as you mentioned about the great Himalayas, that tempted me actually to ask you a question. The Himalaya definitely brought a scenic beauty to Nepal, but at the same time I found that there are many ethnic diversities in Nepal, and you also have many languages. Some of those languages are very active. So considering all this diversity, again, how you ensure that Nepal is a very tourist-friendly country? Because I have seen that in your case, diversity is a beauty.
Absolutely. If you allow me, Nepal's geographical area is similar to that of Bangladesh. So Nepal is quite a diverse landscape in terms of geography. You must have heard of this. We have 8 out of 10 tallest peaks of the world in Nepal. So the whole Himalayan range that we are so proud of. And also the cultural diversity that you refer to also makes our country quite unique. We are not just known for Mount Everest or, let's say, the unique flag of Nepal, but also the cultural beauty and the diversity that comes along with it. For example, we have 142 ethnic communities and 124 languages, and all of them are active languages, you rightly mentioned, and 142 ethnic communities which exist in peace and harmony in Nepal. Talking about cultural diversity, cultural and natural diversity being related to the tourism potential of Nepal, Nepal's goodwill at the international stage has been linked directly or indirectly to being a tourist destination. And when I talk about Nepal being a tourist destination in Bangladesh, whenever I meet Bangladeshi friends or my friends in the diplomatic community, one of the common questions or common feedback that I get from my friends is that they visited Nepal or they have a plan to visit Nepal.
Do you have any statistics available that how many tourists goes to Nepal, per year? Approximately.
Approximately, last year in 2024, we crossed 1 million plus tourists from across the world. From Bangladesh in particular, 2024 was a landmark year because before the pandemic time started, before 2019, it used to be around 25,000. So Bangladeshi tourists visiting Nepal. But in 2024, we had close to 50,000 Bangladeshi tourists visiting Nepal.
50,000 a year?
50,000 a year.
So it's increasing?
It's increasing, and we are proud of this people-to-people linkages that exist between our two countries. And tourism has been a very vital component of this relationship.
If you allow me, I'll go to our major aspects of our relationship. But before going there, I just want to ask, because you mentioned about it, about the energy cooperation between our two countries. What exactly is the status now?
That's very much an important topic, you rightly said. Energy cooperation between Nepal and Bangladesh has been a much talked about subject. We started this conversation about tapping on Nepal's hydropower potential to cater to the needs of Bangladesh and other countries in the region long time ago. Actually, it was in 2018 we signed an MOU on power cooperation between Nepal and Bangladesh, and it took 6 long years to materialize a small milestone, and I call it a small milestone because we signed a deal to export 40 megawatt of electricity from Nepal to Bangladesh through the Indian grid on 3rd of October 2024, and that has been already materialized because it was on 15th of November precisely last year that for the first time electrons actually flowed through the Indian grid from Nepal through the Indian grid to Bangladesh. And this deal stipulates that electricity, 40 megawatt of hydroelectricity would come to Bangladesh for 5 months beginning mid-June to mid-November every year. And this is, as I said, a small milestone, but a symbolic and very important one because this is a springboard. I always level it as a springboard which will prepare the groundwork for future cooperation, not just between our two countries, but the overall sub-region. That's number one. And secondly, there are also a couple of other projects in which our two countries and governments are engaged in negotiations. One of them is Sunkosi Third, which is the hydropower project in the eastern part of Nepal, in which the government of Bangladesh has expressed interest, and we are negotiating a JV, a joint venture agreement, to have joint investment in that project so that electricity once...
So there will be investment from Bangladesh on your power project?
That is how the negotiations are going on, yes. And I'm sure they're moving towards the right direction.
I mean, that makes sense. Yeah.
That would really
because
be...
we will consume that electricity.
Absolutely. That'll be an instrumental hydropower project because it's a big one, 683 megawatt. Once the power is produced and brought to Bangladesh through India, of course, that would be a huge breakthrough for energy cooperation. And there's also the second project, which is the Upper Karnali hydropower project, which is 900 megawatt, and that's being developed by India's GMR company in collaboration with Sutlers and a couple of other companies. And 500 megawatt out of the 900 is supposed to come to Bangladesh. So negotiations are going on between GMR company of India and the government of Bangladesh, and I hope one day we'll be able to reach a conclusion on those two projects so that this energy cooperation reaches new milestones and quite a substantive one in near future.
I mean, it's a very good news because number one is that you have the huge potential, and number two that somehow we have started, as you said, it's a springboard. So we have started, I mean, harnessing from that potential, and maybe in near future we can expect that it will grow and grow, depending on the demand on our side and also investment and others.
Absolutely. As Nelson Mandela famously said, everything looks impossible until it is done. So when we were talking about exporting hydroelectricity from Nepal to Bangladesh, many people, including in our region, I mean, including Nepali and Bangladeshis, we were a bit skeptical whether it's actually possible, but now it has been possible with that 40 megawatt project. And I'm sure this is just a beginning. And regional cooperation in power sector will no longer be a pipe dream, as they say, so it would become a reality, and more reality in a more substantive way.
You also have many students, particularly medical students in Bangladesh. They are studying here and going back to Nepal and then start practicing medicine. How you see this? What, let's say, you will rate the contribution of these medical students in Nepal?
That's right. These people-to-people relations, if you allow me, the societies and communities between our two countries were communicating with each other even before Bangladesh became an independent country. Just trying to give you a little bit of background. You might recall it was as early as 11th century when Atis Dipankar, the Buddhist scholar, a monk of that time, visited Nepal to spread Buddhism. It was in 1908, a Bengali scholar called Haraprasad Sastri went to Nepal to study Bangla language, the origins of Bangla language, and he discovered Charzapad, one of the original text of ancient Bangla because it consists of Bangla poems. So why I'm talking about this is these connections and interlinkages between our societies and communities has been quite old, and so has been the case of Nepali students and Bangladeshi students coming and going from their countries to each other's country. It was in 70s and 80s when Nepali students started coming in more significant number to Bangladesh, especially for the medical region. And as of now, we have about 2,700 students studying in Bangladesh, and most of them are in the medical field. About 2,300 are in the medical field, and rest of the others are in various other fields, including agriculture, pharmacy, engineering, and some in liberal arts. These students have been, as you can understand, an absolute asset to bring our two peoples and societies together. That's why I always call them the cultural ambassadors. I might be the official ambassador of Nepal serving in Bangladesh, but they are our cultural ambassadors who promote not just Nepali language, culture, but also bring our two peoples together. They make great friends. And just like you said, when they go back to Nepal, they become Bangladesh's goodwill ambassadors.
Excellency, now if you allow me, we can go back to our bilateral relationship. I mentioned about energy cooperation and let's say about the education program. But is there any other sector that you think is important in our relationship?
Our relationship, the relationship between Nepal and Bangladesh is truly multifaceted. That's why a lot of sectors ranging from trade, connectivity, transit, education, and tourism, these are the primary sectors, and of course energy cooperation, which has been a new and more growing and promising sector of our bilateral relationship. I would maybe like to refer to this connectivity and transit issues. We are grateful to the government of Bangladesh for the offer to use port facilities in Mongla and Chittagong, and we have been given these facilities for a long time. We used to use Chittagong port for the third country trade in the past. Now, due to certain logistical issues, I think the use of those facilities are not really made optimally, but we are looking for opportunities when we'll be able to better utilize those facilities that are offered to the government of Nepal by Bangladesh. That's one area where Bangladesh has been a crucial partner for Nepal.
Excellency, then Bangladesh is an LDC, so is Nepal, but we all think that by 2026, Bangladesh will be graduated to a developing country. And I heard that it's also the same with Nepal. So do you think that as a least developed country, I mean both these countries, Nepal and Bangladesh, can also work together to get rid of that tag and become a developing country?
Nepal and Bangladesh have been LDCs for a long time, since this category was created in 1971 by the United Nations. Since then, we have been labeled as LDCs. This is a label, this is a category that most of the countries which are poorer, weaker in terms of various other indices, which I don't want to go into details now, have been labeled as LDCs. So that's right, Nepal and Bangladesh were recommended by the CDP, Committee on Development Policy of the United Nations in 2021, and later on by ECOSOC and UNGA in 2021 itself, and they were given the 5 years preparatory period to prepare for the graduation process. I am pleased that I myself was a part of the delegation when this resolution was passed.
When you were in New York.
I was in New York at that time, and it was passed by the UNGA recommending the graduations of Nepal, Bangladesh, and Laos PDR, 3 countries in 2021, and the preparatory period would end in 2026. That's why by 2026 we should be graduating and be entering into a transitional period. That's what they say. Because it's such an important milestone, we are working seriously to prepare the smooth transition strategies. That's what we call them in the jargon of graduation literature. So we are preparing this smooth transition strategies, and we are sharing experiences. Our agencies, focal agencies of both Nepal and Bangladesh are working together, sharing experiences and lessons learned with each other so that this graduation in fact becomes a smooth, irreversible and sustainable, as they say. Secondly, our collaboration and cooperation has also been at the international stage when we talk about our negotiations with the development partners, because actual challenges will begin from 2027 when we enter into the transitional phase. And in that phase, we want the benefits, we want the privileges, as many privileges and benefits that we get as graduating LDCs. Of course, we're going to lose quite a few of them because we'll no longer be the LDC, so we are losing the international support measures. But we want to ensure that the transitional period becomes a smooth one so that we do not backslide. So that's how we are working with international development partners, our friendly countries, and multilateral institutions, including the United...
In this context, are you also working with Bangladesh? Because
yes, we are working together.
Our cases are similar.
Absolutely similar, and we are working together, especially in the multilateral institutions. We are negotiating with our partners, and we are absolutely on the same pace because our challenges and issues are similar.
Excellency, you almost answered my question, but if I may ask it again, as you are a champion of multilateral diplomacy, I mean, I have seen that Bangladesh and Nepal work in the multilateral forums with a very good sense of partnership. How you have experienced that one, particularly in the United Nations, WTO, as you mentioned?
I have always felt that this is one area which is less talked about, the cooperation between the countries like Nepal and Bangladesh at the international forums. This is a less talked about subject. That's my feeling. Because the cooperation and collaboration between our delegations and governments in those forums is at times so intense and so productive that it is really very mutually beneficial. You can talk about our cooperation at the UN and multilateral institutions such as Non-Aligned Movement, G77 in China, and of course LDC group and various other forums. And on most of the issues, you find Nepal and Bangladesh always working together because we agree rather than having differences, rather than having to negotiate with each other. We agree and we have a similar position. Talk about the issues of, let's say, peace, human rights, or humanitarian affairs, or mostly the developmental issues.
And also the trade liberalization and others.
Absolutely. Trade, and also the new issues such as the digital divide, climate change, cybersecurity and whatnot. So disaster management, these are the issues where we are absolutely engaged with each other and we work together. And we shouldn't forget that Nepal and Bangladesh are today number 1 and number 2 troops and police contributing country to UN peacekeeping. So this is a tremendous contribution over the decades that our two countries have made to the cause of international peace and security. So every time you meet the military officers of Nepal or Bangladesh, they talk about their friendship and collaboration that they have built by virtue of serving in those missions.
So let's say in terms of this regional organization, I mean, both Bangladesh and Nepal are member of BIMSTEC, SARC, and also BBIN, the infrastructure network. I mean, people generally say that all these regional organizations, they are yet to move forward. So what exactly is your experience or your take from this?
I would not completely disagree with those critics and people who think that regional organizations...
Particularly compared to, let's say, potential.
SARC was a very vibrant organization and we are very proud of the progress that SARC was able to make initially. Now it has been facing certain challenges. We are having technical and working level meetings regularly. Of course, at the political level, our member states have not engaged with each other for a few years, but I'm hopeful that we'll be able to work out solutions and this process would be revitalized. Talking about BIMSTEC, it has been yes, we should concede that it has been a rather slow organization, but we have made some progress. BIMSTEC was mainly meant for promoting technical economic cooperation. So when you look at the negotiations that are going on at this organization, they are geared towards addressing the economic and technical and scientific cooperation among the countries. The 7 different areas that we adopted in the 4th BIMSTEC summit in Kathmandu, and later on, more materialized in the 5th BIMSTEC summit held in Colombo, have been quite instrumental. We are going to have the 6th BIMSTEC summit early next month, so that can be an opportunity for our leaders to reaffirm their commitment to this process and also make more advances towards integration, regional integration under the framework of BIMSTEC. BBIN has been a sub-regional cooperation framework that was agreed in 2015, and it is not just about, there's a misperception among people that BBIN is mostly about connectivity, transport, and infrastructure. It's an umbrella agreement which captures all sectors of cooperation that are possible among 4 countries, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, and Nepal. We've been able to make some progress. There are at least 2 protocols we are negotiating under BBIN. One is the passenger vehicle protocol. The other one is the cargo. Both of them come under motor vehicle agreement that was agreed long time ago. So we're making some progress. Negotiations are going on, and I'm hopeful that BBIN also would be an important framework for our countries to engage with each other and enhance sub-regional connectivity and cooperation.
Ambassador, no more serious question, but I have a curiosity to know whether you are keen on sports, particularly, let's say, football or cricket. Do you follow these games?
I very much follow all sporting activities. I love football. I am an avid fan of cricket, just like any other South Asian. And I'm very pleased to note that cricket, football, and other sports continue to bring our countries in the region together. You might be pleased to know that Bangladesh has been, especially Bangladesh women's team has come.
Women football team.
Women's football team has come up really well, and they've beaten Nepal twice to win the SAF championship. Nepal also has done really well in football and also in cricket, because we are coming up, maybe not to the level that Bangladesh, India, and other countries in the region are at the moment, but we are coming up gradually. We played against each other in the World Cup, and Bangladesh became the winner.
No, but your player can come to Dhaka or Bangladesh to play with us, and let's say also you can take some training facilities from us. Probably it's possible.
It is
to develop more.
It is very much in my to-do list, and I'm working together with our Bangladeshi friends who are in Bangladesh Cricket Board and of course the Sports Ministry, so as to explore the possibilities of working together with Nepal Cricket Association, so that this becomes mutually beneficial and more beneficial for Nepal to learn more from Bangladesh's cricket.
And Excellency, at the end, if you have something to say to our viewers.
It has been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I would just want to say that Nepal and Bangladesh have enjoyed excellent relationship at all levels, be it at political, economic, throughout the history, at political, economic, cultural, or people-to-people levels. There have been no nerves to calm down. There are no headwinds. There have always been tailwinds that have been really enabling to bring our 2 countries together and to see future possibilities and prospects of cooperation. There's a tendency to see our relationship just in terms of economic partnership and be a little bit critical about why things are not moving towards the way that we would have liked them to. But I always urge our friends, both in Nepal and Bangladesh, to see the brighter sides. So the need would be to not just be nostalgic about why could not do this, or not focus on what could not happen, but focus on how we can work together and focus on our collective strength and solidarity that binds our two countries and peoples so well. Just like Gautam Buddha says, a person can make two mistakes along the way to truth or realization. One is not starting, the other one is not going all the way. I think our cooperation between Nepal and Bangladesh has started in all sectors and started quite well. The responsibility to the people like us is to ensure that we go all the way and realize the potential for the mutual benefit of our two peoples in the future.
Do you want our viewers, or let's say, do you invite them to visit Nepal?
Absolutely. I have been doing this as Nepal's ambassador. This has been one of my major priorities. I'm happy to see the growing momentum of Bangladeshi tourists visiting Nepal, and I would love to see more Bangladeshi friends going and visiting Nepal in the future. And if there's anything on behalf of the embassy that we can do to ensure their smooth and pleasant and productive trip to Nepal, we always stand at their disposal.
Thank you, Excellency. I think our viewers will be benefited from your statements, from our conversation and whatever you said. And dear viewers, we talked to the Nepalese ambassador in Bangladesh. He was extremely eloquent. He talked about Bangladesh-Nepal relationship, our potentials and our challenges. And at the same time, he also commented about the geopolitics of our region. So now we have a better understanding of that. And with these words, by thanking the ambassador, I would like to call it a day. And next time, very soon, I hope that we will meet one more dignitary in Dhaka. Thank you very much.
For more updates, follow us on Facebook, subscribe our YouTube channel, get the latest update on www.daily-sun.com.